Fumi and I were talking about this idea of community, and there's a growing trend now with women in technology communities, and Vinita, you founded Women Hack for Nonprofits, and Hera, you're founder of Chayn. And how do you feel that having communities surrounding this idea and this push for diversity is helping us accomplish our goals?
Do you want to go first?
Sure. I could speak forever on this. I think it's so important. I definitely think that is the game changer, is having supportive, active, thriving, welcoming communities of women who are, and on diversity. Could be about ethnic diversity, could be about like disability, like wherever you have come across privilege. To smash that privilege, you need to have people who specifically understand why they are being discriminated against, whether that's lack of opportunity or pure discrimination. If you've not been through that pain point, it's really difficult for you to have that as a priority. And if you have other people around you who at least see that as important, it's really true. I mean, I will give you an example of the shocking thing that I heard the other day. I was sitting in level 39, where I work, and there was a guy who was talking. There was a business meeting going on right next to me, and the guy was talking to these two female entrepreneurs. And these female entrepreneurs, I have no idea what their startup is, so I don't know. But the conversation that I heard was about those two saying, oh, well, we're doing this conference and we're making sure it's very diverse. And the guy was listening to them for like 5 minutes. And after 5 minutes, he was like, to be honest, I will advise you, don't go down this diversity route too much. Like this feminazi thing doesn't really work that well. And people get really turned off by it. You don't want people who just don't have opinions to come up. You want people to actually, people who really should be there. So like the bullet point of this whole conversation was, women don't have opinions. Why bring in women for the sake of being there? Just make sure all the right men can. You don't want to turn off the men who are the investors. And I didn't say anything, but I had a huge rant on Facebook about it. That's what you do, right? And then it just made me realize that all the women in tech groups that I'm part of, this is why we are there. Because now I discussed that with my male colleagues, and they all saw why it was bad. So they all recognize that. So they're good, they understand that they're good human beings. I'm not going to say they're good men. Like, they're good human beings, they're good men, yes. But when I had that rant in the Women in Tech group, the responses I got were phenomenal because so many people had seen the same thing. If I had posted that in a group where there were mostly men, they might not recognize it, or they might not have seen that. It might not have been that painful. So that pain point being there is really important. And that's why I think, in Chayn, one of the things that we have, which works really well, is the fact that it was started because there was a gap that nobody was looking at women who were experiencing violence in the online space. There was no online resources that you could count on. So by creating it, we filled that gap. If we weren't there, we wouldn't be noticing all the other gaps. So I feel like those gap filler communities are so important.
So I can't remember the organization that I went to last year, but that organization basically does JavaScript, HTML, CSS workshops. And the organizer of that workshop was telling me that it's so hard and so rare to see women attendees in my sessions. I don't know if there are any women who's working in HTML, CSS space really. And I was like, please come join us. At that time, I was solely working on Women Who Code. WHFNP didn't exist then. And I told him that, why don't you come to one of our Women Who Code meetup, right? We have about 4,500 women in tech there, and each meetups usually get about 50, 60 ladies at the very least, be it R, be it Python, be it Django, whatever. And the fact that I was trying to convey him was that I don't think the problem is really women in tech, or there's no women who's working in tech, or who do not have skills to share. I think it's more a matter of the way you invite them. Right, and the community that you're building, how embracing that community is, and how inviting that community is. Number one. So I went to House of Commons in December. Right, there one lady, or was it one gentleman? I can't remember. But they asked me, "Aren't you really now encouraging positive discrimination? That because of all this different women in tech initiatives, don't you think 10 years down the line, you would probably have men ending up creating men in tech groups because there are so many women in majority?"
That would be awesome.
Right? Yeah. So my answer to him was that where we are at the moment is probably because of all the things that has happened in this society for 50 years or even more than 50 years, right? So it's definitely going to take us another 50 years if we just go by the normal route of bringing parity. Right now, I'm not going to be here for next 50 years. I'm probably going to be in this world for maybe another 40 years, and I'll be working in tech for maybe another 10, 15 years more. And I want to see this difference in those 15 years, right? So now, if I were to override the work that you guys did in last 50 years or more in just 10 years of lifespan, I need these initiatives. It's as simple as that, right? So I want the difference now in 5 years, and that's why all these initiatives, all these community groups make sense to me.
Could I add in something as well? I think it's, really interesting what you're saying there. It's not a fluffy topic. Diversity in technology and entrepreneurship is critical, and there's a huge skills shortage in the tech industry. We're addressing the fact that 45,000 jobs went. There are jobs there, but they're not able to fill it, and having less women within, who are within STEM subjects is, we need to make sure that more women are learning to code in order to address this huge skills shortage. It's absolutely critical. And I feel like those two men that you overheard they're becoming irrelevant, really, because as it's really heartening, I think, to see that, for example, the companies that we work with, Twitter, ThoughtWorks, Level 39, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, they are all taking a lead. They want to be leaders in driving a positive change to diversify technology. And I think that's really great that it's breaking free from what you're saying, groups. It's not a women's problem. It's a problem for the whole sector, for everyone.